Yo, welcome back to As Told by a Slut. This is Molly. I'm like recording, maybe I should have changed my outfit, whatever. I'm recording some videos today because I have a lot on my mind, okay? So we're going to talk about some other stuff about gender. And this is going to be like, obviously like kind of related to me personally, but it's just something that I think is very interesting. So I'm hairy, like hairy armpits, you see? And I'm hairy everywhere. And that is part of my, what's it called? Branding. I am a hairy woman. I'm, all natural. I don't shave, I'm a stoner and all that stuff. But with hair, I have hair here as well. I have hair on my face. I have it like here on, I don't know if you can see it. Let me see. You probably can. I have it on my here. Anywho, I have hair, is what I'm trying to say. And it's something I'm kind of self-conscious about. I usually wouldn't be like, look at my hair. But I guess I just had a lot of feelings about gender and stuff like that. And I wanted to just talk about them. And it's just very, very interesting. Just how things are connected. So, I'm 31, and when I first heard about like cisgendered people, I think I was like 23 maybe. And like I was immediately like, oh yeah, I'm cis, like she, her. And I was like very like defensive about this. And the more I examined this and thought about it, the reason is like, I have this like weird, like, I don't know, it's like transmisogyny idea or something where, as a kid, I always had like super short hair. And I mean, I wasn't like a hardcore tomboy, but I wasn't like a girly girl as a kid. It's just so weird how everything is so fucking gendered. Anyways, you know what I mean. I was just like, I wore like fucking leggings and big shirts and Converse high tops all the time. I was just blah. And, I had short hair because my hair is like really wild. My mom didn't know how to deal with it. So I just had short hair. And I remember like a kid saying like, oh, are you a boy or a girl? And, it like fucked with me as a little kid. And that wasn't the first time. I think like maybe I can remember three-ish times from like being like a young, before I started developing, people asking that because I just had short hair and I dressed kind of blah. And, it was just weird. And then there is a time about a year ago or within the last year, I went to Planned Parenthood and somebody asked if I was like AMAB. And, which is like, it's fine, but I do feel like there are these like hyper paranoid and defensive parts because of certain things that I'm like, I want to be seen as a woman. But then it's like, the only reason why is because I don't want to be judged. You know what I mean? It's so weird. Because I've been thinking more like I don't always feel like she or a woman or this or that, but because of like a lot of it is hair, which is so weird how hair is ridiculously fucking gendered. Like short hair is for like dudes and long hair is like feminine. I mean, that's part of the reason why I have my hair long for work is like because long hair is like, oh, it's all like feminine or fertile or like you're like a goddess or whatever the fuck, And, I've always thought like it would be really cool to like maybe shave my head someday, or do this or that. But, and it's interesting because I do see some hairy models that are like, they're hairy head to toe. They've got the face stuff and they just own it and they don't care. And I kind of go back and forth. Sometimes I'll let it grow out and I'll go out in public like that and stuff. I mean, I guess now with masks, it's all covered. But, it's just interesting because the more I've been thinking, I just had like a Skype with some friends where one of them mentioned that they were feeling more like she, they-ish. And that's been something that like, I don't even know how I view my gender. Like it's very just, sometimes I feel like my gender is very like opposite of femme, if that makes sense. I guess like mask. And other times I just feel like it's like neutral, and then sometimes I do feel very femme, definitely. But I guess it's just confusing because the more like trans people that I talk with and relationships I have with them, versus like even like my partner who's like a, AMAB, talks more about like, I don't always feel like a man all the time, and it's just interesting how like, it doesn't have to be so binary. It doesn't have to be like, you have to be this or that, or if you're this, you're not that. You can be both or a little bit of all. But I know for me, it's been really hard to like be open or talk about this because of my defensiveness about this hair, and that I've been so like, I'm a woman, and I guess I just want to feel more comfortable that like I can have, I don't know. I think a lot of it ties into like people like commenting on how we look, and it's hard because that's my job is people comment on how I look, like, oh, I love your big tits, or I hate your fucking body, or whatever. Like that's my job is people talking about my body and consuming it and watching it and everything like that. And so it can be difficult because some of these comments like are not of a positive vein, they're like negative, or they just come from a place of like, I don't know. They come from a place of like judgment or like disgust or something. And I guess there's also just these things that have been ingrained and conditioned by society that it's like, women, girls, you shave your body. You don't have body hair. Like that's not hot. And, when I started growing my body hair out, I love it. I love how it feels. And I love being around other women that were like, yeah, fucking, we don't need to shave our legs or armpits. We can do what we want. And, I definitely met some people who like thought it was weird. I remember this one guy like he basically like, I wore like a sweater and like, covered up my armpits during the whole situation. So that was interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. I guess I feel very kind of embarrassed, honestly. Like, I don't know. It makes me feel shitty that I was so uncomfortable to be open about my feelings about this because I've been so like, just, I guess I just have a lot of complicated feelings about facial hair. Fuck, this is going to be so whatever. I'm just going to talk about it. I don't care. So, I have mental illness. I live with mental illness. Okay. As I think I've talked about this for sure. I have been hospitalized. I'm pretty sure I've talked about that. It's not, here you go. I've been hospitalized. I've been in psych hospitals before. The longest time was like a little over 2 weeks, maybe almost 3 weeks, I think. And as you can imagine, if you have facial hair, 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to get a pretty decent amount. But when you're in a psych hospital, you can't really use a razor unless someone is watching you. So, like you could shave, but then they'd had to like watch you do it. And I was so torn and embarrassed about asking for a razor so they could watch me shave my face. And I just remember having, and also, being in a psych hospital isn't great, but I mean, it's only the first few days. Well, it depends if you go up. I have bipolar disorder, so it depends if you go up on a high or on a low. So that can kind of change how things are. But this one was on a low, but I mean, at this point, I wasn't like as low. And I remember being, how things like when like the clouds start to lift and your depression starts to get a little bit dwindled down, and you kind of start caring about different things. You're like, well, maybe I will shower, or maybe I will like, brush my teeth perhaps. And so I was starting to feel more like I wanted to do some self-care things. And this thing with my facial hair is tripping me up because part of me I felt like it had gotten long at this point, and I was embarrassed of it. I was like pulling and plucking at it. I wanted to get rid of it, but then I felt embarrassed about asking for it. And then I also felt like, what was the big deal? I'm in a fucking hospital. We're all fucked up here. Like, who cares if these people see that I have facial hair? But it was difficult. I remember like this one time, crying to my mom about it. I was just very, and I think a lot of it too, I'm not going to lie, I don't talk to my mom anymore, but she was definitely of the like type that, you like, what's the word? You primp yourself, you like pluck yourself and shave yourself and powder and you do all that stuff. So she definitely would comment. Like if we would go and get our nails done or our toes done, she'd be like, oh yeah, I want you to get a little wax, So that was like her. So I mean, I was also kind of by society and like more closely directed by my mom, and also just like my own internalized things from probably other reasons and how I grew up or how I don't fucking know. But I just remember feeling so like ashamed weirdly of my facial hair and just like, I don't know, and wanting to be like perceived as a woman. Like it was so important for me to be perceived as a woman because I wanted to like cancel this out somehow. And then I wish that I could have acknowledged and recognized that I can have facial hair and also be a woman, that I don't have to like try to compensate for something. But I did feel like that. And now, as I'm thinking more and just like, listening to my body and journaling and, talking to people, I really fucking, I don't know what my gender is. There's like this weird thing, it was like Juxera or something, where it's like a random gender that's like femme, but not all, like not binary, I don't know. I don't totally know. I mean, I'm still using like she, her pronouns and stuff. It's just something that I've thought about for a long time, about how wrapped up my identity of gender is with my hair, especially my facial hair. And that because of that, I've wanted to just be so like, I'm a woman, I'm a girl, like, look, look at me, I'm not a man. And I don't know. It's, obviously there's a lot of reasons behind that, as some as I've talked about, but, I don't know. I think that now that I'm being just thinking about this, I might explore how that feels, like how it feels to not put myself into that woman box, maybe just to like chill from that for a minute and to, that it's okay to like feel different and to be, and I guess what it was is that like I wanted to be the one that said what I was and not for have people like project like, oh, like, are you this or that, or are you this? And I guess it just felt, I don't know. I wanted to like, make the rules or like say how I felt. But yeah, I think there's just a lot of weird feelings and stuff like stuffed in there, and just some insecurities, of course. And, I'm confident and secure with like so many parts of myself. And I really, I like love myself and all of that. But this is one of those things. It's not like I hate myself for it or I hate it. It's just one of those things that I'm very, I have a lot of mixed emotions about it. I find myself like I comment on it. I sometimes will even say to friends like, oh, sorry, I didn't shave. And they don't fucking care. I don't think that people that I surround myself with care if I have facial hair or not, but it's just been something from, society, my mom, world, life, and just being in weird situations that, I equated that being judged for that was like a bad thing. And I don't know. I think there can be room for like all sorts of feelings about this. So anyways, I just want to talk about hair and gender. I mean, it goes much deeper than this. I mean, I was talking to a friend briefly just about how, people make assumptions about stuff and people assume this or that. And it's just, how short hair kind of people have a certain view about women with short hair, or trans people with certain kind of hair, and how body hair, I don't know. It's just it's a very gendered thing within our society, within sex work, within everything. It's like, hyper femme, you have like long head hair and like no body hair. And then like masculine, it's like you can have longer hair, depends, right? But body hair, but the right amount. And then for trans people, there's like always people commenting on like the amount of body hair or testosterone or this or that, or, you know, you're not hairy enough or you're too hairy. It's just, I don't know. There's just all of these weird, like, preconceived notions about hair, and they've been wrapped up within me for a long time. So yeah, thanks for listening. I probably have more thoughts on this later, but thanks for listening to As Told by a Slut. Until next time.